Awesome.
Alrighty, so let's do this. Let me just make sure this is working. Okay, awesome. Good afternoon, Whale Coin Talk community. My name is Noah. This is the second AMA of today. We are joined by Adam representing the MetaCars team. They are a play-to-earn racing game. And Adam, before we get started talking about the project, can you give us a quick background of who you are and how you got to be in the crypto space today?
I would love to. Thank you so much, Noah. So as you had mentioned, my name's Adam. I've been in the crypto space since about 2018, bought my first Ethereum and Bitcoin, not whole versions of those, but just small parts at the time. And I was really happy to find in 2020, it grew. I knew that there was something to crypto at that point, especially. So I got more involved, became a marketing manager for a couple different projects, and then also started getting into more of like the independent marketing side as far as representing projects that interest me. So that brought me to MetaCars here. Got to meet the team. I'd love to also go into a little bit on the team, if that's okay.
Yeah, definitely. We'd love to hear about it.
Awesome. So who is the team? Well, it is 4 folks here. There's the CEO, Alan, Matthew, the community manager and marketing manager, Doc Fix, who is the developer, and Jesse, who is the NFT and oversight artist for the actual metaverse integration of the NFTs. This is a very experienced team. They've been working together for about 4 years or so. Doc Fix being the newest addition, given that he's newer to the crypto side, but he has 20 years of experience in the game and web development side. Alan is just really engaged in the gaming world and very interested in movies as well. And one of his favorite movies was actually Cars. So he said, you know what, how can we bring this to life in our own way? Obviously, there's the restrictions of copyright when you take an existing franchise and then want to monetize it and do something really fun with it. So he said, this is only a temporary band-aid. If we look at what we see here, this is clearly Disney themed, clearly Disney at the top 2, Disney. But the NFTs, they actually met with a lawyer and they said, before we really invest a lot of money in marketing this and do awesome AMAs, is this something viable that we can do if our entire project is based off these NFTs and the likeness, and if we have a game revolving around the involvement of these NFTs? Is that something viable as long as we change these Disney elements and implement our own once we have some gameplay in the next week or so, 2 weeks or so? And they said, yeah, as long as your V2 of the website is focused on this and not this, then you're totally fine. So they said, cool, green light, let's go. You might ask, well, why didn't they just start with this type of theming for the entire website? Well, they wanted something identifiable, something that people could still understand and that was easy to consume. A lot of people have seen the movie Cars. A lot of people know that franchise. So when you can attach to an existing franchise, but then develop your own identity and then have that identity exist in this space and kind of blossom into its own, it becomes really powerful. So that's what they're looking to do. Also, the NFT artist, Jesse, he needed time to actually develop the Genesis set of their NFTs, which is what I had right here. So most of his time was involved here. Go ahead.
Adam, really quick. So there are no risks of copyright infringement, right?
No, that's the cool thing is worst case, if very early on right now, there was a cease and desist from Disney, what they can do is they already have a backup site ready to go. It's really bare bones because it's just going to have this and the elements that don't have, Cars theming on it, but it's ready to go. They have it as a backup, but they really want to make sure it's a little bit more polished with in-game screenshots and videos before it's an official V2.
And how many developers are working on this game right now? I know you mentioned a couple, but how many are focused specifically on the game? And do they have experience building video games in the past?
Yes, so currently just one, actually. So this is the whole team, but Doc Fix, he's the developer for the project itself. He has 20 years of game experience and development. Wow. The rest of the team it's pretty awesome. He is new to Web3, though, so I'd like to make that mention, right? They're not afraid to say that he hasn't been in crypto for 10 years or obviously 20 years, but he's been, newer to Web3, but he has a lot of game experience. So he's very excited to bring that, actually make this come to life. And they've made some amazing progress in the actual alpha that they're going to make playable potentially even today. So right after pre-sale, they might even be able to get a video up pretty soon here. But what they're thinking within the next day, max 2 days, probably today though, they're going to actually have a playable demo, not just a demo, but something that's actually playable in alpha, which is pretty wild.
Amazing. And so the playable, the full game is going to come out when?
So the full game is going to be coming out in later phases here. That's going to be more race 4. You're looking about a month and a half out. So about a month and a half out. This isn't quarters. This is just their general timelines. It's going to be about a month and a half out is going to be when they're fully integrating these NFTs as playable assets within the games that have benefits based on their rarity.
Great. And Adam, tell us a bit. I mean, I think racing games are a bit self-explanatory, but each racing game has different features and nuances than the next one. So tell us a bit about how the game works, how many different racing modes there are, how players can earn, get into the nuts and bolts of the actual game. I'm very curious to know what makes it different from all the other racing car games that are out there.
I'd love to. And I love how you threw in a pun without maybe even knowing you did. I've been doing that all day. So I love that.
What did I do? I think I missed
nuts and bolts, man.
Yeah, nice. I pretty much say that on every AMA, so I didn't even realize I did it.
It worked flawlessly here. I love that. Anyways, I'm just a dad joke, like a living, breathing version of a dad joke. But anyways, how it's going to fit together is essentially as simple as this. You own MetaCars token, which by the way is a Ethereum-based project with the actual pre-sale going live in less than 17 minutes right here. This Ethereum-based token is going to be used for literally everything that you can imagine inside of this ecosystem, essentially. So what I mean by that is you're going to be able to use the MetaCars token, this Ethereum token, to be able to buy custom NFTs. Those custom NFTs are going to be coming in full swing in about a month and a half. You're also, even if you don't want to buy the NFTs, or if you're very in early phases, like right now, when they actually make it playable, from the very start, you're going to be able to take $50 worth of the actual token, and it's just $50 once. If the price varies or fluctuates, doesn't matter. $50 worth, you contribute it, you're in, and now you own a basic car. So basically, like just a starter car to get going, and then you're entered in to actually be able to race to win these tournaments.
So the minting cost for each of these car NFTs is only $50, or?
That's just to get in. You don't actually get an NFT for putting $50 worth of the tokens in. You, by the way, don't lose those $50. It's just $50 minimum to actually be able to play the game. But once you own $50 and you play for the first time, it basically whitelists your wallet and you're good to go for the entire rest of the time you want to play. But if you actually want a custom NFT, the ones that we saw here in this like rotating kind of like carousel, these custom NFTs are going to have a mint floor price starting of $300 equivalent of this token, of the MetaCars token. So the reason why someone would even care about wanting one of these versus just the stock $50 car that has no customization is not only do they look cool and they're a representation of the rarity of the item you get, but they're all going to have special traits. A legendary is going to have even more traits than like a kind of like a common or a mid-tier. And these traits aren't going to be game breaking, but they'll be enough to potentially get an edge against everyone else if the rest of the drops within the game are to your favor. So it's one of those things. It's not going to break the game, but it will influence your potential win rate in each race.
Okay, and so what other utilities do they provide with respect to your overall ecosystem?
The NFTs or the tokens? Sorry.
The NFTs. So, I understand that they're going to give us a little bit of edge in the game. They're going to have very specific traits, but are you able to stake these NFTs? Are you able to do anything else with them, or is it just with respect to the game? Do they just have utility with respect to the game?
Yeah, that's a good question. So outside of the utility in the actual game, they're also going to give you exclusive access to events. So they're calling them car meets. So essentially what they're going to be doing there is if you're a top 20 holder, you're going to be able to get access to these exclusive events, but you also have to own an NFT. So it has to be one of the Genesis NFTs, this first launch, right? If you own one of those Genesis NFTs, you're then able to get access to these exclusive events where they're going to have giveaways, like a party, exclusive merch, all that sort of stuff. That's also going to be live streamed so everyone in the community can see as well. But let's say you own maybe a common one of these and you're not a top holder. You're still going to get access to digital meets, which are going to be in their Discord that they're looking to spin up later on once they expand their community. So there's still going to be outsized advantages outside of just the actual game. That's going to be the core, but you're also going to get access to exclusive events, giveaways, and the like just by owning the NFTs.
That's awesome. I love real world utilities. I think real world utilities are going to be the next big thing with NFTs. I mean, they already are. Okay, so tell us about the different traits each of these NFTs have, and also tell us about the different rarity tiers. I know you mentioned legendary, but how many is it like common, uncommon, rare, legendary? How many different tiers are there?
So to my knowledge, there's going to be 3. So there'll be legendary, there'll be common. The middle one, I'm not sure on the exact naming structure, but they'll let me know here. But all of them are going to have different benefits, and it's going to be randomly assigned. So outside of just the aesthetic, like the different eyes, legendary, uncommon, and common. Okay, so pretty traditional naming structure. Outside of the the eyes being different, tongue being different, the paint job, the background, the wheels, all that will be able to be customized, not customizable, but they'll be randomly assigned and have different rarities. They're also going to give you an overall difference in the game. So let's say like a legendary would have more benefit than a common, even though they're both custom NFTs. So the legendary would maybe have the benefit of being less less prone to stun attacks and also have better agility and better handling, whereas a common might just have a little bit more health before like deteriorating in the game, because the NFTs don't burn themselves obviously, but if you're playing in the game and your car gets hit by a rocket, let's say, your car slows down because now it's taking some damage, and eventually when it's really taking damage, it's going to really slow down. So it's one of those things that they want to make it to where even if you have a very, very rare NFT, you're not breaking the game. Luck could not be in your favor, and someone just brand new into it could potentially win, which is really cool. It builds a lot of positive sentiment, and it creates a lot more, like much more of an equitable playing field, basically.
Okay, and why did you guys go with 500 or 5,040?
I think it was just something they wanted to keep it kind of like on the lower end relatively, not too low, but they wanted to be able to show enough different ones is the basic thing. Like they didn't want it to be, like, okay, there's 30,000 of them and each one's just slightly different and it looks kind of lame. They wanted them all to be kind of identifiable and fun, but not too many. This is just that Genesis set. They want to make sure they master this, and then of course they're going to launch more, but this is where they want to start to make sure they can first in batches integrate those into the actual gameplay.
When is the Genesis NFT drop?
So it's going to be happening. There's going to be a teaser actually happening early on. So I'll actually get to that here. Let's see. So they're going to be introducing it here in the next couple of weeks. They're probably going to drop a couple of them, probably for community giveaways and stuff, just to say like, hey, these are the first NFTs we're giving away, but they're not going to be usable really in any sense until we get into the later phase, which is going to be happening in about a month to a month and a half. That's where you're going to be able to not only buy using the MetaCar token, but you're also going to be able to take these NFTs and have them come alive in the actual game, which is going to be booting up in race 3. So maybe about a week earlier than that.
I love the roadmap as well, the graphic.
Isn't it fun?
So yeah, it's awesome. And so we need to have the MetaCar token in order to purchase the NFTs, correct?
Correct. Yes, they may be adding in the ability to buy using ETH later, but to my knowledge, they want it to first and foremost be adding in utility to the MetaCar token. So that's going to be the primary means by which you can buy.
And you mentioned the floor price is going to be around $300. I'm assuming this is for a common. What are going to be the prices for the uncommon and the legendary NFTs respectively?
So, to my knowledge, and I'm sure Matthew, their marketing lead, will correct me. It's going to be, it's just going to be a mint. So it's going to be random. So you put $300 in, and you could get anything. I mean, you could get a legendary, you could get a common. That's
Right.
the cool thing, is it's going to be just randomized mint. So that's another thing of wanting to make it equitable and fair. If someone has $300, that's some money for a lot of people, right? So why not
Certainly.
get the chance to win a legendary and then have a huge benefit in the game and potentially be able to sell that for quite a bit if you'd like.
I love the democratization. I think it's really cool. It's like a booster pack, right? A booster pack
Yeah.
costs $5, Pokemon booster pack, and it depends on your luck whether or not you get a Charizard or you get something that's not as rare. How can we get whitelisted? I want to buy. I want one of these NFTs. Like, what do I do? How do I get
Yes.
whitelisted? Yeah.
So first and foremost, the best thing to do would be to actually own the MetaCars token, because that's going to give you instant access to be able to buy them when they go live. Now, here's the thing. We all know when added utility opens up, price goes up of whatever is used to buy that. So that's one of those things that, to get it the cheapest, because there isn't going to be a whitelist. As far as I've heard, there's not going to be any whitelist, no pre-sale for the NFTs. It's just going to be, we're opening up the gates to mint, and guess what? You're going to be buying with this MetaCard token that we've been using for the last like month or so, right? So that's why they're opening up right now. In fact, when we're talking about any potential discounts, in 7 minutes, they're opening the doors, MetaCars is, to be able to get their underlying token, the MetaCars token on Ethereum. They're letting you actually contribute and get a 10% discount off of what it's going to be listed for on Uniswap. So you're getting a 10% discount. This is not vested. You have instant access to it. I can get into the taxes as well if you like to kind of speak to it, because it's kind of an interesting tax system, and it works to the benefit of those that get into pre-sale and even those that are potentially thinking about investing after as well. So I'd love to talk about that, but that's the best way to get a NFT at the cheapest price, would be to get in early on the token price potentially, or find a good entry point for that token price once it launches, to ensure that you're able to get as many NFTs as possible.
So we just need $300 worth of the token.
Yes.
Since you mentioned tokenomics, let's go through a high-level overview of that.
I'd love to. So when it comes to the actual tokenomics, let's start with token tax. I'll just leave it on here. But when it comes to token tax, there's a very minimal buy and a larger sell. Now, when it comes to the buy, there's a 1% buy per transaction. Now, that 1% buy, where is that going? That's actually going to a part of the smart contract that they nicknamed the Guido, which is one of the characters from I think like Cars 2. He's one of the repair guys. So he's actually there, and the reason why they named the contract after him is he's there to help the contract. He's there to help more so the project if they need it. So here's what's cool is that function can be activated by the team, and it's a buy function. It's a buyback and burn function. That's a manual one. So let's say, I don't know, a week in, there's some huge volatility and they need some help on the charts. Well, whenever the team decides, can summon this function and have it actually do a buyback and burn that they're never going to announce, and that will only happen at random intervals that they choose. So that way it can't be front run, it can't be predicted, and it's really helping those that choose to hold. They're getting the benefit basically. So that's where the 1% buy tax is going. Now, what about the sell tax? Well, there is a 12% sell tax. Now, how that breaks down, it is 3% auto buyback. So every single sell, there's an automatic 3% buyback happening, which is kind of nice. There's also 4% going to marketing, 4% going for the liquidity pool, and then 1% for the Guido contract as well for that manual buyback and burn. So what's cool here is you're getting like a dual-headed buyback approach, and one of them is a manual one that the team can initiate whenever needed. And then the rest, of course, is helping out marketing, and then, of course, helping out liquidity, so that way price impact isn't as high as the project grows. So that's kind of how the token tax looks. When it comes to the distribution, it's also here as well on the actual pink sale page. Basically, how it plays out is first I want to go over what are these funds going to be used for. So we can see here there's a soft cap of 100 ETH, hard cap of 200 ETH, a market cap of over 1 million, almost 1.1 million. That's a lot if it's a Binance Smart Chain project. This is an Ethereum-based project. It's a different world, and it should be known that if it's a project that has good utility and it's an NFT, and they're able to prove that utility shortly after launch or before or whenever, it could potentially do really well. Of course, you always want to kind of verify that, see if it makes sense for you, but that market cap isn't terrible for a project that is launching on Ethereum, which this of course is. So that being said, where is this money going? Well, how it's split is 60% is going into liquidity, which it shows right here. The other 40% is going into marketing for post-launch marketing. They've already invested quite a bit of money into pre-launch marketing. Well, now they're allocating 40% of the raise throwing directly into marketing, which is going to be pretty awesome. So that's where the funding goes to. Now, for the actual distribution of the token itself, how is that going to be split? Well, 100. So first of all, the total supply is going to be 100 billion. How that's split is tokens for pre-sale, which is again opening up in 2 minutes and 30 seconds here. That is going to be 32% allocated. So 32 billion is allocated for the pre-sale. 17.2 billion is going to liquidity. 30%, a little over 30% is being burned on launch. So right after launch, well, I'm sorry, after the launch terminates, after it's done in 2 days from now, they're going to be burning 30%. And then anything that doesn't raise past the soft cap is going to be burned as well. So anything that doesn't get raised, they're just going to burn and go from there. So that's a little bit of how that all kind of comes into play. I did also want to make a mention here. If you go down and go into this pie chart, there is 2.3% allocated for the team. These are team tokens that are unlocked. So these are going to be strategically sold so they can pay themselves back for future development on the project, especially because they're looking to bring that MVP to market very, very soon here. And it's not just going to be a video, it's going to be something that can be actually played and used. So I just wanted to make sure people see that. I don't like, projects that kind of hide it or don't speak about it. So that this is for the team and it is unlocked for launch.
Yeah, and we appreciate your transparency, Adam. I did see that, if you scroll down, we see that one Ethereum gets us 106, is it 160 million or 160 million MetaCard tokens. Did you guys have a private sale?
We didn't. That's the crazy thing. So the sale that's happening in less than a minute now is the best discount you're ever going to get on this. And there was no whitelist. There was no private pre-sale. There was no angel investors. This is the discount right now. This is the 10% discount. And then launch is going to be 10% more. And then the market takes it from there. So less than 40 seconds here on the clock. Really, really excited. I'm just going to kind of leave it here, at least to just kind of see the starter of it, see things go. It's always fun. Just as an aside, we actually had, not this project, but another project I was representing. We always like to end on you guys because you guys are one of the strongest AMA groups that we have. And we actually live filled on camera, which was really cool. So not all projects are like that, right? Different things kind of fill at different times, especially cross chains like that. But it's just kind of fun to kind of see. But anyways, yes.
This is exciting. I'll be honest with you. I've never had a project that I'm hosting on an AMA launch their pre-sale live. So this is going to be interesting to watch it, Phil.
It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. So yeah, basically just to kind of explain, that is how it's going to play. That is the discount that's happening. Again, it is running for 2 days. So it's going to be running for 2 days, full 2 days. If they hit soft cap, they can vote potentially in the community and make it known that they want to launch and go ahead. They can do that, but they're probably going to run the full course of the 2 days. So that way they have better time to kind of work on the actual alpha that they're going to be launching and ready to play. What's crazy is I didn't even think they were going to do this, and I was pretty happy to see these tournaments that are going to be running. This is the first tournament. This is the first tournament that's going to have a top prize of $500, so $500 equivalent of MC points. Those MC points are directly convertible over to MetaCars token on the Ethereum chain. So that's the cool thing is when we're talking about taxes, that was a huge concern about for this project was, how are they going to deal with taxes? They thought of a really cool way to basically create their own game and then have the interactions be with the blockchain only when they're dealing with the tournament wins and when they're converting back from MC points over to the actual MetaCars tokens. So I absolutely love that. Every single transaction and every single like move of the steering wheel isn't going to be a smart contract, initialization. It's going to be their own game, and then they're going to reference a smart contract to actually show the winnings and to, of course, convert over MC points 1-to-1 to the winnings.
I'm glad you touched on that because that was a concern of mine for obvious reasons. It seems like transactions that will require gas fees are going to be very limited. And it's basically when you're trying to cash out. On that note, really quick, before we move on, I'm going to circle back to the game. But before we do that, was there a seed round? Were there team tokens that were allocated to members of the team before any sort of sale happened?
That's a great question. And actually, there is a 18%. Yes, 18% allocated for marketing and future centralized exchange listings. That is locked for a month. That is locked for a month. So outside of that, no. There's that like a little bit less than 2 to 3% that we talked about. That's for the team. Outside of that, that 18% is locked for a month. Then it does have an unlock. I believe it's even locked here. Yeah, here it is right here. So that's the amount that's locked up, and you can see the unlock period. This is actually 6. Yeah, that's correct. So that's locked up, and then that 3% is the only thing going to be unlocked. So a little less than 3%.
Understood. So let's circle back to the game. I want to know a couple things off the top of my head. One, how many different racing modes are there?
Ooh, good question. So to my knowledge, they're just going to have like a main map to build everything off of in the V1. As they expand, they want to expand it to different maps for the tournament. But they're going to have it first just be a standard race, right? First through 10th place, traditional racing like you would expect in Mario Kart with combat involved. And then they also want to do some like team stuff to kind of have team races, and you're going to be able to team up and kind of earn points for your team. And then, people will be paid out based on which team wins, things like that. But to start, it's going to be a traditional race.
Understood. And how specifically are players earning?
So how they're going to be earning is based on their position within the final lap, right? So in the final lap, where they end is how they get paid in MC points. So all the way one position through 10 is how they're actually dealing out the winning. So if you go to the white paper right here, you can see 1 through 10. Those are all going to be the people earning MC points. So first place is going to get, effectively whatever the equivalent would be of the MC point conversion over to dollars, which is the same as MetaCar tokens. So whatever the equivalent is in dollars, that's the amount that they're going to be earning in the actual token. And then it'll show in their dashboard, and they're going to be able to convert that over seamlessly over to the actual token.
So the only time to earn is in these weekly tournaments?
Yes. In between, what they want to do is they're going to be having kind of like an open world type environment where you can still like chat with friends, race around a city, kind of like explore and still like have fun with your NFT, especially once you earn some money. You're really going to like your NFT. There's still going to be social elements, but that is going to be the main focus, is those weekly tournaments. They might expand that, but they don't want to be too ambitious because they want to make sure they can do something like right the first time before they start to expand, because it's already pretty ambitious. They're trying to integrate custom NFTs, have them represented with different traits. They want to take it one step at a time, but in the future, oh yeah. I mean, they want to have like multiple maps, themed maps too, and different game modes based on holidays. But they want to make sure that they're not too ambitious and over-promising. They want to make sure they have something, working and ready to go.
Are these prizes coming from the taxes?
So they're actually coming from the marketing budget. From my
Okay.
understanding, yeah, they're actually coming from the marketing budget. So that's actually part of the tax. So in a way, yes, yeah. I mean, it's
Okay.
coming from the marketing wallet. Yeah.
Got it. And is there going to be a wagering system at some point? Let's say like my boy and I each have a legendary NFT and we're very competitive and I'm like, hey, I'm better than you. He says better than me. And we want to put down a fat chunk of MetaCar token and just kind of make things interesting. Is that a possibility down the line?
Ooh, down the line, I could see it. I could definitely see it, but it's one of those things like those specifics. It's going to take a little bit of time to integrate those properly. What they want to do first is make sure that like these NFTs look amazing and you're able to actually see the benefit of those NFTs and their rarities helping you. So again, like we had spoken about, like with Mario Kart, for example, like I keep going back to that game, but it's true. Like if you're playing as Bowser, for example, just in this example, if you're playing as Bowser, he's like a heavier character. He's not going to get pushed around, but he's slow. Whereas if you're playing as Toad, he's super agile, he's lightweight, but if he runs into Bowser, he's going to go flying. It's
It's my
kind of like
go-to,
that.
man. Toad's my go-to.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. Like it's fun, right? So like
Yeah,
he's super agile and you can win a ton of races, but you have to have a specific strategy for using him. So you're
certainly.
going to have, yeah, you're going to have specific NFTs that are really rare, but they're going to be rare and useful in a specific way to really guarantee that you're going to be positioned in the top 5, let's say. So that's the cool thing is there's going to be like a lot of like integrated strategy within all of this that you're going to be able to leverage. So it's really cool because not only can you use that strategy, but you can also do this where you can actually lend out your NFTs, which is the craziest thing. So you can lend out your NFTs, not on the platform, but just independently because you own the NFTs, right? You can lend them out to a friend or someone that you met. They can put down some collateral with you, for example. They're like, okay, I'll send you, 3/3 of what or 3/4 of what the NFT is worth. I'll race it, I'll win a couple races, and then maybe I'll even give you a cut of it or whatever you want to work out. And then you can get your NFT back and you're ready to use it again. So that's the cool thing is you can create little micro economies within the game.
But these microeconomies are the, the only way to earn is to participate in these weekly tournaments. There's no other way to earn in the
Exactly.
game. Got it. I want to talk a bit about what makes your token hyper deflationary. I know you mentioned some burn mechanisms earlier, but I am curious specifically about in-game token burn mechanisms. What are some ways you can use the token to, let's say, upgrade parts, add skins? What are some ways that you can use it to kind of support the economy and keep it running?
So currently, right now, the NFT that you get is going to be the main customization. Like you're not able to then change the color of the NFT you get, or you're not going to be able to kind of upgrade its engine or upgrade its wheels, let's say. It's really going to facilitate instead the usefulness of being able to buy more NFTs to have kind of a stockpile of like cars to use in different scenarios. So it's going to be more like that. The reason why they want to do that is unfortunately a lot of times PDE games are kind of abused, right? Like they'll make it so that you can play often and you can earn, and then you're upgrading your car. Maybe that's free. Well, that's great and that's awesome. But then what happens? People set up bots, they set up cheat mechanisms where they're just farming XP, and now they have a crazy like outsized benefit over someone else, and they've only contributed $50. So it's one of those things where they want to make it where the majority of the benefits are tied in to the actual utility of the NFT. So as of right now, their main focus is NFT focus around having any influence in how the actual operations work of being able to have an outsized benefit. But they might be adding those later, but it's kind of one of those things. If they introduce too much too early, it's too many things for people to understand, and they don't really they get a little confused. Not that people are like dumb or anything. It's just there's too many mechanics for something that's brand new. So I think instead their focus is little by little introduce those things, see what people really like, see what people absolutely don't care about, and then focus on the things that are going to make the biggest impact and get people to stay engaged. So that's kind of their main drive.
Got it. And I want to talk a bit about the different types of guns, the shunt, the bolt, and the mine. Can you give us a high-level overview of how each of those work?
Yeah, so the mine is kind of fun. So the mine's going to kind of be like a banana, basically. So like you could throw it in front of you, behind you. The shunt is going to be a rocket, so that'll be kind of like a Koopa shell, effectively. And then the last one will be kind of just stunning. So it'll like stun some folks in front of you in kind of like a spread sort of way. They're going to be introducing more like randomized weapons as well, but that's just kind of to start. The reason why they even have those weapons is because they want to make sure that even someone new is still able to have, even if they only put in $50, they're not going to get the benefit of farming XP to like level up, but in the game itself, in the match, they're going to still be given the ability based on luck to get a good weapon in that scenario to be able to slow down an opponent, pass them, and then maybe get that second or even first place prize, right? Or even all the way through 10th. So that's the cool thing, is they're still making it like accessible by having those random weapons that you can't upgrade before the fact, but they're still giving a little bit of a benefit if you do choose to invest more in the project by owning the MetaCars token that you can use to buy the NFTs.
Sure. And Adam, I've really enjoyed talking to you so far. I'm not done with all my questions, but if we keep going, I'm not gonna allow my community members to ask questions, and I want to stay fair to them as well. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start calling on community hands. And if there's time at the end, I will follow up with the rest of my questions. Does that work for you?
Sounds good, man.
Sweet. So let's start with Western Beast first.
Thanks a lot, Noah. I'm kind of enjoying this project actually, from the fact that it's actually a Disney-based project, as Disney Cars to others. So here's my first question. I actually had I missed out on some points, so I don't know if some of my question might be redundant. But on the where Noah said that he could actually wager with his friend, would there be an escrow or a middleman from your team to ensure that these wagers are fair and credible? That's the first question.
Yeah, so the actual bets, there's not going to be bets just yet. The only thing that you're going to be able to do right now with the actual cars is going to be able to be participate in the tournaments, not because this is all that they want to do, but because we want everyone to get introduced to actually using the cars, using the platform, trying things out, trying it for yourself. They need that first before we can really start to introduce things like escrow and side betting and things like that. They want to do stuff like that, believe me, but it's not something that would really make too much sense doing right now. So when they get there, I can guarantee you they're going to put it up to like some votes and some influence from the community and see what can be done. But it's not going to be a focus right away because they want to make sure to get those first winners in first. They want someone to win that first $500 cash prize, be super pumped about it all the way through $10. And by the way, the fees for converting over from MC points to the MetaCars token, the fees are paid by the project, which is so freaking cool. So it's not so like if you win $15, something that comes to my mind is like, oh, well, I don't even want to take out that money because like the fees are more than the prize. There's no point. But instead, the project is actually paying for those fees. So basically how that'll work is you hit claim, the contract is going to see that you wanted to claim. It'll see that you have your wallet address, and then it'll send you those tokens after that claim, which is going to be really cool. So I just like to mention that too, because again, they're really trying to perfect the race system first and the integration of the NFTs, which is already hard enough. That takes a lot to do. And you have to make sure that there's anti-cheat mechanics. You have to make sure that things are like patched and look awesome. After that, you can start to really expand. And what's great is by doing that, you're able to expand and have updates all the time. Hey, we added in side betting. Hey, we added in, the ability to do this or that, or adding in more utility. So expect those things to come. But any project that comes to any AMA, especially a high quality AMA and like this, and is promising the moon and back within a week, is probably lying, or they are just stretching themselves too far thin. So you want to see a project that's serious and has ambition, but isn't promising too much in such a short period of time.
Yeah, that's a great concept. Here's my next question. Since you have a lot of plans to do a lot of things in the future, do you intend to merge the powers of the NFTs? For example, you just mentioned one that's hyper fast, and you also mentioned one that has hyper endurance. Can I take out the ability of one being hyper fast, say, then add it to the guy of endurance, even if it's at a reduced level? For example, take out, say, 100% of the one that's fast, and then when I fuse it with the one that has high endurance, the one with high endurance could become, say, 20% faster, so that I can at least improve my chances of winning the game. Do you think that will be allowed in the near future?
Near future, no, but I can really see the convergence of partnerships being part of that. The reason why I say that is in the near future, no. Again, they want to focus on the core product here and make sure everything works. It's fun, it's equitable, and it just makes sense. After that, they can start to explore different options. But when it comes to fusing and like combining different abilities, what I see actually happening is first being partnerships. Partnerships make projects grow at an exponential level because you're getting more of a natural exposure means through collaboration. I see merging of maybe custom stickers, because by the way, there's also going to be stickers that you can customize your car with. So the stickers aren't going to have any traits. They're just going to be aesthetic, but they'll be custom stickers, let's say, for a partnership. So okay, we partnered up with this token and we're launching a sticker pack. If you want to buy it with X amount of MetaCars tokens, you can take those stickers, apply them to your car, and now you have that forever, which is really cool. So things like that I can see first, and then later fusing, because again, complexity. If you overcomplicate early, not everyone's going to get it, and you have to have a foundation of understanding and fun before you start to introduce too much complexity. So it will come, but you have to kind of be a little patient with first seeing what the project wants to bring, and then once that's excited on, and once it's really like well polished, which this team has spent a lot of time on making sure that's the fact, then you can start to get into other pieces.
All right. My final question. Um, I'm saying that you have Disney characters. I don't know if you've touched on copyright, I guess. So
I did,
say
yeah.
these NFTs now, will they be the Disney characters? Or do you have I heard you talk about a backup plan. So is it that you already have these Disney characters as NFTs already, and then should a legal issue come up, you just instantly switch? Is that what's going to happen?
So yeah, as we kind of like started the hour with when we were talking about it, the core focus of V2 is going to be this. Is going to be these NFTs, and these were cleared with a lawyer by the team to ensure that, hey, if we create a website, a V2 effectively, and if we create a game focused around these custom characters that are inspired by the Cars, movie franchise, can we still have a project that's going to take off? Or more importantly, can we have one that's not going to get taken down, I should say? And they said, yep, no problem. As long as you don't leave the Disney stuff up. So that's the biggest thing, is this is just to kind of have like some filler in the meantime. So that way they're not just leaving it blank, right? And there's something identifiable so people understand where the kind of inspiration's coming from, because you have to have some sort of like hook or anchor into like where these things are coming from. But expect that V2 in the next month and a half to be solely focused on these NFTs, in the sense that you're going to see screenshots from the actual game populated throughout the website. You're going to start to see those being the main banners and the main ads that are used, instead of let's say Disney copyright, right? Obviously, it's not sustainable. So I was really happy to hear that they do have that plan to have that focus, and in not too long of a distant future either.
All right. Here's my final question. Some investors are actually scared when they hear the word Ethereum. The first thing that comes to an investor's mind when he hears the word Ethereum is gas fees. Do you intend to, apart, you already convinced us here about how the Ethereum is going to play out. Would you be having a Binance smart chain integration in the far future? Since you said there's going to be a lot of things that are still under development, would you be having a Binance integration in the far future?
I mean, sure. I mean, they could expand to low fee blockchains for sure. But the main reason why, I don't want to get away from the fact why they went with Ethereum to begin with. They went with Ethereum because, I mean, Ethereum is still the, prominent place to get NFTs. It is where people go to first when they think of NFTs. There's other chains, of course, Solana and so on, that are starting to pick up and have picked up when it comes to NFTs, but still first and foremost is Ethereum. So if you have an Ethereum project that has some really unique, fun looking custom NFTs, they have utility in a playable demo that you can actually check out very soon here, and that those NFTs are going to come to life, that's a very, very powerful combination. So that's what they're looking to do. That's why they chose that chain and why they kind of are going that route. So when it comes to the Binance side, Binance Smart Chain, probably not right away. I would say don't even count on it, because you don't want to see a project shift focus. You want to see them have a central focus on one thing, because when you start expanding too much, you lose focus, and unless you have a team of like 30 people, it's just not going to happen, and everything slows down. So I know crypto moves at like the speed of light, right? But the projects that fail are the ones that try to get too ambitious too quick and then don't do anything right. You want a project with a little bit more narrow focus, but one that they are very passionate about, which this team definitely is, just even based on the experience that they have in game development. So yeah, hopefully that answers your questions. Those are some good ones.
I appreciate your answers, Adam. Thanks, Noah.
Of course.
Yeah, my pleasure, man. Aisha's next.
Thank you, Noah. Okay, I've read on your white paper that in-game, players will be able to collect guns and can use them to make damages to other players' car. You also mentioned about that. Um I want to ask that, as there will be health bar for each car in the race, which can be reduced by the gun's attack. So I want to know that when car health is zero, will the car only slows down or it will be eliminated from the race?
That's a great question. So no, it's not going to be eliminated from the race, to my knowledge. It's just gonna move slower. So it's going to be one of those things where it's just going to kind of be damaged and it'll move slower. But there's going to be repair kits throughout the map. They're not going to be everywhere, but they'll be kind of like strategically through the map. So even if you got damaged early on, you can still make a strong comeback if you have a really good strategy about you, but it's going to be harder. So there's multiple avenues in which they thought of ways where, okay, let's still give the opportunity to make a comeback, but let's not make it too easy, so that way there's still a challenge there for everyone included. So now I did want to make a mention of again, if you own an ultra rare NFT, a legendary, right? Well, you're going to be able to have potentially a trait where you have more health. And if your car has more health, then even if it sustains some damage, it's okay, because you can still go before slowing down very much. So that's kind of how they're looking to actually implement that health system.
Okay, got it. Okay, another question from my side. As players will be able to play this game in Metaverse, so I want to know that will it be compatible with the VR headsets as well?
Good question. No, not right now. It's going to be just mainly desktop based, and then they are going to be expanding to iOS, and then shortly after Android. So they are looking to make it very friendly and accessible. It'll be desktop first, and then, like I said, iOS and mobile platforms. So you'll have a way to play it on many different ways. VR, not yet. Again, I think that comes later because there's so much that comes into play when you're doing VR. That's coming way later once they've already expanded and explored other development points. It can't be done right away. Again, you can't put too much on the plate too early because then nothing's done right. But to answer your question, though, they are going to be doing PC first, and then you'll still be able to play it even on a phone pretty shortly after.
Understood. Understood. Thank you, Adam, for answering my questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aisha. Let's go with Seika Gilani. Oh, sorry, Seika. Let me locate you again. Perfect. Go for it. Seika, you there? Hello? Okay. Let's go to Sayed.
Hello.
Oh,
Hello.
hey, hi Nita. Guys, make sure your connections are strong. I know that not everyone has the best of connections, and I understand it's always not in your control, but it makes the AMA kind of, it slows things down, it messes up the flow when we're trying to find out if you're audible or not. So let's go to Sayed, and then we can move on to the next person.
Yeah, thank you, Noah. Okay, so I was going through white paper, and you also mentioned. So it got me thinking that what features of the car will players be able to upgrade, and up to what extent? I mean, will the car will the car has its own upgrade potential?
Yeah, that's a good question. No, it's going to be very much focused around the actual. It's going to be very much focused around the actual NFTs. So 100% it's NFT focused. So if you actually buy an NFT that has like a high rarity, let's say, right, then you're going to have an advantage. But if you don't, if you just have like a base NFT or you have an NFT that you just got in with $50 of, let's say, you're not going to have as much of an advantage there. So there's going to be nothing that you can upgrade in the actual game itself right now. It's going to be 100% focused on those legendary NFTs that you can get that are purchasable with the actual token.
Got it. So you also mentioned that players can earn rewards by participating in tournaments. But on your white paper, it's you also mentioned that the players will also be able to earn rewards by completing missions. So I was wondering that what kind of the missions will players have to complete, and will these be solo missions, or players have to team up to complete these missions?
Well, it's not going to be so much missions. It's going to be more of an open world experience. So I don't know if anyone here, and I'm sure there's a couple folks that have played Need for Speed Underground. I love that game as a kid. I would still play it right now, and it's going to work like that. So just to give you a high level of how that works, it's you're in an open world. You're driving around as a car, and you can race, you can do jumps, you can have fun in this open world environment, and then you can go to a starting line to be able to race against other cars. That's going to be the vision of what they want to do. So there's not going to be missions, there's going to be races and tournaments with timers above them, like showing, hey, this is when the next race is going to be, and then you can go up to the starting line and participate. So it's going to be very accessible like that. Now that comes later, of course, again, because it's very hard to integrate all of those things. Instead, it's going to come in the form of first click in to enter the race, or get in that way. Is click to enter the race, and then later it'll be seamless in the actual experience. You're going to be able to travel around the city and then access those races just by turning a corner and then going to the starting line, basically.
Yeah, thank you for clearing that up. Moving to my final question. So I was wondering that on which game engine this game is being developed on, and it's been developed by their own team, or it is outsourced.
So for the actual platform, it's majority being developed by the actual team. What I would do is I would actually ask in the Telegram, because that's a pretty specific one for the developer. I would just ask like, hey, what platform is this going to be developed on? Is it more than just you developing? Because from what I heard, it was mainly the team being developing it. But I would actually ask to get a little more clarity, because I don't think the actual game designer is online mind just right now, but I would ask so that way the question can get seen, because it might get lost otherwise. So that's a fantastic question. And for anyone here that maybe didn't get their question answered or wanted a little bit more clarity, just join. Just join the Telegram, ask the questions, because you'll be able to get a little bit more clarity on it. But that's a fantastic one.
Yeah, yeah. I will surely join the Telegram group. Okay, thank you. Over to you, Noah.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sayed, for the awesome questions. Next up, we have Mohammed. Mohammed, you there? Okay, let's move to Venice. I think we lost Venice as well, though he did message me his questions. So I will ask questions for Venice on his behalf. He says, I have read the NFT car meeting event for your holders. I want to know how you will choose those top 20 holders. Will there be any time limit for which they need to hold your tokens rather than buying the tokens for a day and after getting the pass to this event, selling them? Also, will it be for the NFT holders as well? If yes, how will you determine the NFT holders for this event for whom you will give free visa and flight tickets?
Yeah, so it's going to be snapshot based. So if y'all are familiar with kind of how DAOs do things, not really like that, but it's going to be a snapshot of current holders. So it's basically going to say, if you hold this amount of tokens from this period to this period, which is going to be longer than a couple days, it'll probably be like a month at least, then you're eligible for like the first quarter car meet, or maybe the first monthly car meet, whatever it is, right? So that's kind of how they're going to structure that. So that way, because of course people are going to get in and out as they see fit, to make sure that they're not holding longer than they need to, especially in the early stages when first kind of seeing things being developed and so on. They want to make sure it's something that they really want to hold. I will say, outside of the discount you're getting right now, it's something that is going to be actually seen pretty soon, which is exciting. And that really adds a lot of credence and verifiability to it. So now going into, what is it? What was the second part? I'm sorry. So you asked about.
Yeah, no worries. And I think that actually Venice's connection is working now. So I'm going to let him take over.
Yeah, if you could ask that second part, Venice, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much. The second part of NFT was that will you also allow NFT holders to be eligible for that meeting
Oh,
event?
yeah. Okay, yes. Good question, actually. Yes, with an asterisk next to it. What I mean by that is you have to be a top 20 holder and own an NFT. So it's actually both. So it's not just you own, a top 20 amount of tokens, but you also have to be an NFT holder. Now, it doesn't matter if you're like a common or an ultra rare or whatever, as long as you have an NFT and you are a top 20 holder, then you're eligible to go to the event. All expenses paid. It's going to be pretty fun little party that they want to host. So I do want to say though that there's going to be smaller clubs and smaller events, like smaller car meets, virtually and even in person as well. Virtually in the sense that when they migrate over to Discord, they actually want to have separate rooms that are kind of branched off and for smaller, not smaller, but different parts of the community. So they'll have like, one for like common NFT holders, uncommon, and then like ultra rare, right? So you're going to be able to talk with other holders and get to have like exclusive access to other people that actually own those NFTs and kind of create a community there. And they'll do like different little events and things like that. So so that's kind of how they want to structure it. The big one being the big event that's exciting to me at least is that top 20 holders, as long as you own an NFT, they really want to sponsor like a party and an event, and then have your ticket in be the actual NFT outside of the actual ticket that you're getting there and back paid for by the project.
Okay, Adam, and as previously Sayyid Rahmat asked you that is there a way that we can make the cars stronger, and your answer was no. But while I was reading your white paper, I read that we can lend our NFT to other players so they can play
Yes.
with your NFT. The more you play, the stronger gets your car. So I don't understand what does it mean. The more you play, the stronger gets our car. And also there is a garage in the game where we can upgrade the cars and weapons. So please
So
elaborate this.
yeah, yeah, no, that was a good point actually. Those are going to be things that are being explored later. So when they were looking at the white paper when they developed, it was pretty early on, and they said, okay, like these are the things we want to bring to market, but how quickly can we do them? And the things I talked about are going to be the things that are coming much more soon. You know, so something that you could see in a month and a half. When you start adding in elements where your car gains, you know, potentially longer like life or strength or benefits, the more you're using it, it can imbalance the game pretty substantially. And that's actually what they saw when they were doing testing, because they were like pressure testing things, and that's actually what caused some of the failure in some of the early stages. Is they're like, oh no, this doesn't work out well. This is going to be, you know, played pretty bad, and it's not going to be fun anymore. So they kind of potentially threw that to the side and kind of scrapped that for now, and they're looking to actually bring something like that later, but it needs to really be looked at. So that's why I didn't even really put a focus on that. I said, look, at the end of the day, it is going to be this first. Once they launch the NFTs, with the NFTs having the actual traits inherently in them that have a benefit, once those work and once everything runs, which they're again looking to release an alpha pretty soon here in the next day or so, maybe even a little sooner, that's when they can start to say, okay, this works great. People can use it. People are winning money. Now let's start to develop those other things and start to implement some of those additional features.
Okay, and one last thing I wanna ask it. Will you also have any plan in future to add a automatic racing mode in the game by using some machine learning model where we just need to start the game and all cars will be racing automatically by themselves, and probability of winning the race will be equal. So, any plans for this kind of feature?
No, not really. I can say that pretty confidently, just because they actually want that. What is it? They want they want that like not risk element, but they want that element of like surprise to be there, in the sense that they want people who even are brand new to potentially win. And I know what you're saying as far as like, well, couldn't like something just automatically do that for you? Well, yeah, but like they want it to be a fun game. You know what I mean? Like it takes out a lot of fun when you start to just have it automatically run itself and then you just collect the winnings. Like that's cool, but you would just do, you know, like farming to do that, right? So they want to make it something fun. They want to make it something engaging. They want you to create like strategies nested within the game of how you're going to play. It's almost like the same thing of saying like, would you want Mario Kart to run itself and like race against, you know, friends and stuff? Not really. I mean, the whole point is so you have fun. And this is of course different because it's an investment, but you also want it to be fun. So again, that's where the experience of game experience comes into play, because they really want to take from their experience, bring that into this, and then still make it something that's able to be monetized and something that people want to use.
Okay, Adam, thank you. And you are really a good speaker. Even if it is a hard question, you have an answer to that. So awesome.
Thank
And
you. I mean, you have great questions, so it makes it even more fun. I appreciate it.
yeah, thanks. Noah, are you there?
I think Noah got disconnected there, guys. I don't see him here in the VC. I guess we're running a little over time here, but as we wait for Noah, I'll unmute one more person for a question, and then we can wrap things up if that's okay with you, Adam. Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right. Let's try Sophia. Okay.
Hey, sorry about that, guys. I was tethering off my phone. My phone died, and so I lost internet connection on both ends.
No
I'm
problem,
back.
Noah. I was just
Yeah.
pitching in here. I said we're gonna take one more question here for Adam if it's okay. I unmuted Sophia, and so Sophia, if you wanna ask a question and maybe keep it brief, and yeah.
Perfect.
Thank
you,
you
Acti.
so much, Acti. Thank you so much. So my question is, I saw that there were three type of gun. Do you plan to add more later? Will there be armor to protect us from these guns? Will there be a turbo that will allow you to go faster over a short period of time to take the advantages over opponents?
No, at this time it is going to be those three different items, which are mostly going to be like kind of holding your opponent back to potentially give you the advantage. As far as like a speed boost, not really. They're going to release more, um, item drops. Or like I guess you could say like power up drops later, but right now it's just going to be those. Again, it's a matter of like, I know we all get excited and want everything to be there at once, but it's not really realistic when you're developing something that's also integrating in with the blockchain on the back end for the end transactions, and then also doing kind of something from the ground up. So stuff like that will come, and it is something that was talked about of kind of like adding in more power-ups, but for the time being it's just those three. They want to see how that tests. They want to like pressure test it, make sure it works, and then once it does, boom, it's ready to go.
Okay, so I have one more question. If we can buy the cars with the tokens, then what is the purpose of NFT cars? Is there any benefits of NFT cars on cars bought with tokens within the game?
Yeah, we actually mentioned some of them earlier. So you're going to be able to buy your entry in with $50 equivalent of the MetaCars token. But also, you can buy the NFTs, and when you buy those NFTs, they're going to have extra benefits, like we spoke about. What are those extra benefits going to be? Well, they're going to allow you to have a little bit of an advantage on handling, on being able to be more resistant to damage, all these different things that they're factoring in. Those are going to have more benefits. So there is an advantage to holding the NFT, and the NFTs are also, by the way, going to be purchased with the Metacar token. So that's the cool thing, is that you're going to have the ability to kind of do that in multiple ways. Like you can try out the platform if you like, put $50 in, and you're guaranteed to be able to always get a car and race if there's open slots, because there is 20 people per race. But if you want an even better car, you can do that too, and you can race that custom car every single time, and it never goes away. You always have it, and you always have the advantages that it brings.
Okay, that's amazing and best of luck for your project. Thank you for answering me.
Thank you, Sophia.
Thank you, Sophia. Adam, I really appreciate you being with us today. I enjoyed hearing about the project. I love play to earn. It's my favorite sector of the space.
It's fun.
A lot of hidden potential. Yeah, very cool. Unique NFTs, very unique gameplay. I'm excited to see your MVP come out. I'm excited to see the alpha version of the game come out, and I hope I can play. I can be one of the first players that tests your game and races with one of the cars. So,
oh, dude, I can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait either, man. And again, very enjoyable talking to you. You're a great speaker. For our listeners that are tuning in late, before you go, give us a quick summary of who you are, what you're building, and why people should have a look at your project.
Yeah, I'd love
Hello,
to.
sir. Can I ask question?
I'm sorry. Yeah, just give us a quick outro, Adam, and then we'll send you on your way.
I'd love to. So we talked about MetaCars today on the Ethereum blockchain. This is an ETH-based project that is a hybrid of NFTs coming to life in this metaverse that they are looking to build and release an alpha for very shortly. This is a little over 5,000 NFTs that are all going to have custom traits, different rarities, and abilities within the game. Those abilities are going to give you a little bit of an advantage every single race in the form of better agility, better acceleration, more damage that it can take, that the cars can take. All these different things are going to add up to giving you a better edge against your opponent potentially. But there's also going to be the random element of power-ups within the games that anybody has access to that are going to be scattered throughout the map that you can use on your opponents to get that upper hand as well. So why would you want to race? Well, again, we talked about high level. There are weekly tournaments that they're going to be expanding out as they go, but just know every single tournament there's going to be a rising floor of prices 10% higher every single time. And all of this is brought together. The cars being purchased via NFTs, all of that, even just the initial entry in, is all going to be powered by this MetaCars token, which just opened its gates on pre-sale, not but 30 or so, 40 minutes ago. Pretty exciting. There is 2 days for this to fit. Plenty of time, and just know when you get in, what are you getting? You are getting a 10% discount on access in. You're getting the tokens at a 10% discount, and you're able to play that game very, very soon. In the next day or so, you're going to be able to actually try it out. So with that, just want to say a huge thank you. You guys have some of the best questions of any AMA group that I've done today, and I've done quite a few today. So I appreciate all of you, and we'll see you all soon.
Yeah, see you soon, Adam. Thank you so much for being with us today.